With 2023 coming to a close, it is time again for me to review every game that I've played. Disclaimer, I have opinions that you probably won't agree with, and I did not play every game that came out, and I know there are some that I missed that I want to play, so you won't see everything in here, but please still enjoy. After watching gameplays of the first two, this is the first Here's the Fathom game that I decided to play blind. I think this was great, and all the games are a fun 2-hour horror experience. Having all the games be based on true stories, they really do a great job of playing into natural fears such as being home alone. I don't need to be the 100th person to tell you that this game is a masterpiece. Back in the day, I watched a playthrough of the first Last of Us game, and then I played the second one blind when the PS5 came out. Before the TV show came out, I wanted to play the first one myself and realized that I really didn't remember any of the story except for the ending, so most of it felt fresh. The PC release of this game looked kinda like a disaster, but playing it on PS5 was such a charming experience. This may be a flaming hot take, but I like Callisto Protocol better than this. I never played a Dead Space game, so there's no nostalgia or expectations going in. That being said, I think it was fine. Nothing too memorable. I might get around to play the second one sometime, but I still recommend this to anyone wanting to play a spacey horror game. I just think that there may be better ones to check out first. I felt like this was a fantastic experience for any Harry Potter fan. I had a great time with it, and I was doing every side quest and all the optional challenges. Then it just completely broke. I'm not sure what happened, but my computer would refuse to run the game or the sound wouldn't work. This made me lose a lot of momentum, and when I finally did get it to work, I didn't play it much after that. Hogwarts Legacy for me is kind of like Minecraft, where you get into a grind for a few days, then just drop it for 6 months. The only Metroid game that I've played is Dread, and I have very similar thoughts to my review of that last year. I don't like it. I tried this game because all of the hype and was really hoping to understand why people like this series, but the backtracking ruins my entire experience. I pretty much played the whole game with a walkthrough pulled up next to me because I would have no idea where I was supposed to go most of the time. Compared to Dread, where some fights felt a bit too difficult, the combat on Prime was incredibly easy. I beat almost every boss on my first try, and I eventually just ran past most enemies because it wasn't worth my time to fight them. I've just learned that, unfortunately, the Metroid series is not for me, but good for you if you like it. If you look at my 2022 games review video, you would know that I played the original Resident Evil 4, and I did not love it. This game was such a big improvement, and I felt like it addressed a lot of the issues I had. There wasn't a lot of tedious combat, it never felt like it dragged on for too long, Ashley got fleshed out, and so much more. I did feel like Lucius was a little flattened as a character, and we didn't get to come to like him as much. Even though we got more plot with him, I just felt like his character was a little bit annoying almost. Talking to someone who hadn't played the original said that they wanted to like Lucius more than they actually did, and I have to agree. The Ada DLC also is cool, and it was fun to return to the game a few months later to do that. So overall, it's still not my favorite Resident Evil game, but I really enjoyed it. Now, for everyone, including my own, most anticipated game of the year. I didn't like Tears of the Kingdom. I have some flaming takes on this channel, but this one might be the most against the grain. I played about 3 hours and just couldn't get into it. I really am not a big fan of the building mechanic, and I don't know, it just didn't suck me in. That being said, I have been wanting to return to the game and give it a second chance in the new year, and if my opinion on the game changes, I will update my rating next year. I had a similar experience with Breath of the Wild, where I feel like the first bit really didn't grasp me, but once I pushed through that, it was a lot more enjoyable. I haven't given up hope for it, I just wanted to speak my truth. I never bought the full game when it came out because it's very meh. I may be biased, but Dead by Daylight was just such a better asymmetrical horror game, and this just really didn't do it for me. I found Killer to be difficult and raged when I couldn't get Connie on Survivor. I may end up getting it once there's time for it to be developed, but for now, I think I'm good. For a free DLC with the purchase of the original game, I thought this did a good job. It wasn't perfect, but it was a fun few hours and some interesting new lore. I didn't love this game as much as I thought I would. From my limited knowledge before, it felt like it was similar to Resident Evil or The Evil Within. It just had the horror turned down a bit. The PC controls weren't great, but I'll let it slide because of its age, and I feel like it was intended to be played on a controller. The story was interesting, but didn't really captivate me by any means. I personally found the ending confusing and kind of stupid, but who am I to judge? I still played Alan Wake 2 after this, so this game wasn't horrible, it just was okay. This game is so much better than I expected. I was gonna play it for Halloween, but it didn't work out. But it's just the perfect mix of Undertale and Doki Doki Literature Club, and just like those games, it's so much better the more blind you go in, so just go play it right now. I am such a big fan of the first Evil Within and finally got around to the second one. This game's story is so incredible. The characters, the plot, the emotions were just, The last few levels were some of the best video game levels I've ever played and couldn't recommend the game more. But make sure you play the first one first so you can appreciate this one more. Each new Fears to Fathom game becomes my favorite. This game was lovely and was engaging the entire way through. I just can't wait to see what's next. This game really does stand the test of time and is so fun. If I streamed, this game would be perfect, minus the sexy parts, and I would be more than happy to finish this game. Another great game for if I streamed. The interactive movie is stupid in all the best ways, it's such an ironically fun time, and would be great with friends. This surprisingly scary Christmas horror game comes from a creator with a solid reputation. This one isn't talked about as much as their other works, but it's still great. This game unlocked something in me that I didn't know I had. This unintentional rage game had me so bothered, but everyone who watched my video loved it, apparently. I was so frustrated with the game that I couldn't be bothered to learn the plot, but the art style's great. I promised everyone that I'd finish this one day, and I'm still holding myself to that. This game isn't great. I see the vision. I see the potential. I really hope that they can make some changes before releasing the full game because I think the concept is great. If you watched my video, I didn't find the game particularly challenging. Me personally, I think that when I focus on not screaming, it's pretty easy. Also, I think that knowing that it's a jump scare simulator takes you out of it. If there were enemies that could end the run, that would really increase the scare factor. I'm excited to see what they do with the game, and if it seems worthwhile, I'll check out the full release. So I played Miles Morales before this, and I wanted to play this one before Spider-Man 2 came out. I did, and then I ended up not getting around to Spider-Man 2 yet, so, This game has constant excitement and smooth gameplay, definitely a title that you have to play if you have a PlayStation. I played this multiplayer, and it's kind of a clusterfuck. It's fine, but there isn't much else to say. This came out around the time of Mario Wonder and Alan Wake 2, so this quickly got dropped in favor of those other games that I found more interesting. I may return to it, but it's nothing special. I love the WarioWare games, and this one definitely is great. I do feel myself probably returning to get it together more often than this one, but it's a great time. I do have a major complaint, that if your Joy-Con turns off, then the entire level restarts. Since you can't play with a Pro Controller and Joy-Cons are the spawn of Satan, this happened so often to me, and it was so frustrating how many times I had to start over and how much longer this game took. And that really, those are my 2 points that I'm taking off, because it was really insufferable. Going in, I won't lie, I was skeptical. The pure absurdity of the trailer made me worried how this game was gonna go, but the quirkiness works so well. So much creativity went into this game, from the powers to the Wonder Seed effects. This game was a blast and probably my favorite 2D Mario game that I've played. I don't typically gravitate towards RPGs, but people seemed excited that this game was getting a remake and it looked cute, so I decided to check it out. With minimal expectations, I was totally blown away. The animations, music, charming sense of humor, this all culminated into creating an incredible experience, and this definitely felt like a push I needed to check out other RPGs. This is the best VR game that I have played. Overall, I have not been super impressed with VR yet and wouldn't recommend it over getting a mainstream console, and while this doesn't single-handedly change my mind, it definitely tips the scale. Before this, I hadn't played a horror VR game, and I won't lie, I was nervous. There were a few times that I fully screamed out loud, and if you know me, I don't get scared easily. However, the game definitely was manageable and not too bad even for non-horror fans. The last few games really upped the stress, making the gameplay consistently exciting. Please, if you have a VR headset or plan to, play this. This game is definitely a lot better than the first one. I really do think the visuals were incredible, and when I played it, I knew that it was going to win the Art Direction Award. I do think that the first one, I felt like the pages really took me out of it because you had to keep pausing the game to go listen to these pages being read, and this one I felt similar with Saga with her board. I just had to keep pausing and then connect the dots, and it was frustrating how often I had to pause to do this because it really took me out of the immersion. That being said, the Alan sections are some of the best levels that I've ever played. They are so incredible, and I love them so much. I wish that it was just Alan, and I get for the plot that you have to have Saga, but the Alan sections were so much better than Saga that it was a little bit annoying that I had to switch back and play Saga, but it really was a fantastic game, and I am impressed by it. I'm keeping up the yearly tradition by playing an old Resident Evil game, and this one it's good. I feel like it's better than 4 in some aspects. I feel like it's probably less frustrating than 4. The multiplayer is fun. It's nothing special, but I will play it if they remake it, but they better remake Veronica first. I mean, there isn't much else to say. It's okay. It's a fun time. I'd recommend it if you have it, but also you should play Resident Evil 2 or 7 first. Yep. Now, if you know me, I also give out a couple awards just to highlight some of the games of this year, and we're going to start off with the Appreciation Award. This is meant just to highlight and give a little bit extra love to a game that I really like, and I would really recommend to everyone, and that's going to be FNAF Help Wanted 2. I was excited for this game, and it still over-delivered. It really shocked me with how good it was, and I really do think that anyone could have fun with it. Biggest letdown, pretty self-explanatory, and to everyone's surprise, that's gonna go to Tears of the Kingdom. Again, I won't get back into it, but I will still try it, and I might revoke this award depending on how it goes, but it really was a little bit disappointing for how long I waited and how I personally felt about it. The Dark Horse Award goes to a game that really surprised me and really blew me away when I didn't really have much expectations, and that's gonna go to Super Mario RPG. Again, this game was really good, and I really didn't think I would love it. So really, if you haven't played an RPG, I would recommend this one because I didn't think I'd like RPGs, but this one changed my mind. I Wish I Played This goes to a game that I wish I played this year, but didn't have the time to. You know, there's never enough time to play every game, and that's gonna have to go to the game that everyone's been talking about. It's all over the news. Bramble Mountain King. Baldur's Gate seems very good, but I really am sad that I never got around to Bramble because I played the demo, loved it. I have the game, haven't played it yet, just didn't get around to a gameplay. I will play it, and I hope to do it soon. Now, finally, my most anticipated game next year is gonna have to be The Casting of Frank Stone. It mixes probably two of my most favorite games, Dead by Daylight and the Dark Picture Anthology, and I'm just really hoping that it's good because theoretically, this could be like one of my most favorite games of all time, and I'm hoping it's good. And that's it. I really do feel like that 2023, the games this year were so much better than last year. I had so many more 10s, and I wasn't being generous. I really did mean them all, because also last year I was very stingy with my 10s, so all of these really deserve it. Again, I know I missed some big hitters this year. There's ones that I really wanted to play myself and I never got around to. There were new ones that came out that seemed super cool. And please let me know in the comments what you think, if you disagree with my opinions, if you agree, if there's games that I just have to check out. I really want to know what your personal reviews of your games that you played this year were. And I am going to see you next time. Bye-bye.